There it is. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, guys. Sorry for the power cuts. I live in a society, unfortunately. But yeah, at least now we can get back to the Weax. Wait, is my microphone on? Yeah, it's on. Sweet, sweet, sweet. When made outfit model, when you redeem it using the allegations redeem. As simple as. Simple as. Okay, whew. Alright, let me just quickly get a moment to get my browser going. Because that kind of, yeah. Stop moving me, get, jeez, never mind. Browser. Docs. Oh yeah, almost forgot about the multi-chat doc. There we go, that's up. Now the browser up. Oh wow, it actually works the first time. Sweet, 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 sweet. Alright, cool. So this one is the Futanari explained by Professor, oh geez, my English just died. Professor Lando. I am very much keen to what he has to say on the subject. He's very much an expert in all things outlandish, from what I've seen. Alright then, let's get right into it.
Hello students, my name is Professor.
Don't mind me submitting 40-minute videos. Good trust? No. I have a limit for a reason. 30 minutes only.
Lando, and welcome to the esteemed Ligma University. And in today's lesson, we're
Stolfo. Interesting.
taking a look at a very important topic, and that is one on Futanari. Yes, Futanari. What is it? And also, why exactly why do we like
Did you just say I? I'm fairly certain he said I.
it so much? That's what we're striving to answer today. So please, again.
Wait. Hold up. Detention. Blah, 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 blah. Random names. Boozy Powders? Why is Boozy Powders in detention? And Femboys 18? What? I'm noticing.
Take a seat, open up your notebooks, and let's begin class.
Noted.
Like I said, students, today we are going over Futanari. It is a genre of explicit Japanese material, aka hentai, where a character or characters has both female and male explicit parts, body parts.
Okay.
Now, what do I mean exactly by this? Well,
I hope he doesn't go too much into detail. I don't want to know. I have to know, but I don't want to know.
give you an example here. Let's take a female character. Chun.
Wow, he's actually pretty good at drawing. I believe that's Chun-Li. I think it's from Street Fighter, if I'm not mistaken.
Li, and we compare it to a male character, for example, someone like
Who do you draw? It's actually not a bad Naruto. Enough for all the memes and he does. Professor Lando's actually a pretty neat artist. Certainly far above anything I could do.
Naruto. Now, when it comes to Futanari, in its most basic description, it describes a character that is intersex, having both parts. Now, you could take this as a traditionally female character like Chun-Li having a phallus, or a male character having breasts, for example.
Oh, I thought it was always just the former. I didn't realize the latter was also part of that. Okay, so apparently this topic is a lot more extensive than what I initially thought.
But when it comes to Futanari in practice, out there on the field, we find that more often than not, the majority of the media is going to be female characters.
Okay, that explains why I never heard of the male
addition
ones.
of male parts, conceptually speaking, and not male characters.
Hello, Mountain sir. Welcome back. Sorry for the immense delay of like 45 minutes. But we do live in a country. Things like this
female
happen.
parts. Now, don't get confused. There could be some crossover here with Rule 63, male characters and or female characters being changed into the opposite gender. In
Rule 63? The Underworld Fox experience? Yep, pretty much. Also, hey, Dilexarian, how you doing? Fox lives in a society, true. We need to add a Joker emote. Also, can someone explain to me the Rule 63? Like, I know of the 34, but I was unaware that there was a 63. I didn't even know it extended beyond 30-odd rules. Happy Friday, just wanted to say, wave gear. Thank you so much, man. Happy Friday. If you're American, happy July 4th. But yeah, hope you have an amazing day. A gender swap? Oh, okay, makes sense. Understandable. I wonder what the other 61 rules are.
fan-made media, fan art and whatnot, but we are talking about Futanari. Now, before we get...
How does he say that word with a straight face? I'll never know. Just don't look up Rule 69. I'll probably get banned immediately the moment I look that up, so I'll just let Professor Lando, lead the lesson. He'll give us all the CISO information.
Get deeper into this subject. I'd like to get deeper into this subject.
I'm all about
Futanari is a genre in Japanese explicit fictional works. So when we talk about Futanari, it is in the context of fiction. And although there might be...
Thank goodness, because if they were real, oh boy, we would be living in a world.
Some loose associations with this word to some real-life cultural things many years ago. Today, in modern times, and in the context that I'm teaching you about, Futanari is not to be used to describe real-life people, trans people specifically. Now, there might be some...
I didn't actually know that this was a word that you would apply to them. Interesting. I would suppose that it's technically not correct given the definition that he gave. But I digress.
Trans people that associate positively with this word, who am I to say?
Intersex people are real dogs with both sets of organs? Interesting. I do know that intersex is obviously a congenital abnormality, but usually in most cases one of the pairs of organs are non-functional. Sometimes there's a little bit more of a split, and also there are different variations of intersex. For example, there are some people who are born with ambiguous organs, there are some people who are born with 2 sets of organs, and you also get some people who may just be born with 1 or more sets of organs, but their genetic material contains cells made up of both male and female. Although, to my knowledge, there has never been a true 50-50 split between the genetic makeup of a person. I think the highest one that I read when I was reading a document about it, a medical document, where they examined, I think it was a guy who had 30% of his cells were actually XX, so female. And in those situations, it's incredibly hard to dictate whether you should identify this person as male or female, or a little bit of both, For most intersex people, I would say that it's pretty cut and dry. You just go with whatever their genetics say. But when you get into the very mixed territory of having half your genome being male, half the other one being female, it's a little bit more difficult to decide. Although, to my knowledge, there hasn't been ever a true 50-50 split. Doctors will often take action to remove or disable one set of organs to prevent problems down the line. Yes, I'm also familiar with that. Until Underworld Fox showed up, he is perfectly balanced as all Futas should be. That is the wildest comment I've ever read this whole week. How do I pin comments? Someone pin that for me. I don't have any mods online. Oh man, whew. Thank goodness I wasn't drinking any coffee. I would have spilled it all. God.
Really know. But generally speaking, I think we would all agree that Futanari, to describe real-life people, would be pretty distasteful.
It'll probably be, incorrect by definition. Although, I imagine there's probably a case where they could meet the definition. What happens? What happens with what?
All right, you hear that? It's lunchtime, students. So before we
Ooh.
get onto the rest of this lecture, let's get some brain food in us. Oh, I don't know about you students, but I am starved.
Go cat boys, nya. Oh my goodness, look at this. He's got like a buff selfie on him. The comments you mentioned. Oh, Maltomancer made a very interesting comment about me being perfectly balanced as all Futas should be, which was pretty wild. But anyways, moving on. We got Professor Lando drawing himself in a, I don't know, a photo shoot pose, like something out of Magic Mike, but clothed. And then we got a whole lot of cat boys and cat potentially girls, I don't know, could be cat something else. Okay, this is interesting. I love how he puts things in the background for us. This is what we call visual storytelling.
Luckily, Ligma University offers a very nutritious diet plan for its faculty and its students.
Why do I have the unnerving feeling that the 2 fruits and a banana and 1 little donut is symbolic of something? He's trying to make hints here.
Now, before we eat, I think this is a good opportunity to learn something important about Futanari for you visual learners out there.
Oh no, visual learners, oh no, please don't do it with the fruit. I hop all over again. Oh no, not the femme buzzy trap. I just wanted the goth girlfriend.
Now, when it comes to Futanari,
Too much fruits, you
there are
had 10
3
minutes.
main types of physical appearances of a Futanari character. We're going to use these food items as stand-ins for the explicit body parts you might find on a Futanari character.
Okay, I figured this is where I was going with it. 11 out of 10 would eat. I mean, I've had my fair share of donut, narkies, and banana. Yeah, you see these things? Those aren't mandarines? I don't know. You people have some funny name for them. They're called narkies, not whatever nonsense name you people made up for them.
First off, we have a banana, or a phallus.
How does he say this with such a straight face?
A schlong.
And I paused on such a perfect expression.
Meat.
Okay, Schmeat's not so bad.
The girth, member, length. And to go along with this banana, we have 2
Hey, man is a trained professional, okay? Yeah, he definitely knows his stuff.
tangerines.
It's not a tangerine, it's a narki.
And they go at the base of the banana like so. And this represents
Why is he fondling the narkies? Moby huge, true.
the male package, as you can guess. And in a Futanari character, this replaces the normal female accoutrement that you would usually find. And they come in different shapes and sizes like they do in real life. They come just like this, girthy, way above average length, that's for sure. And maybe sometimes they come with a little bit of that skin missing.
These are mandarines? No, those are narkies. Also, hey, Steel, how you doing, man? Welcome, welcome. He's just being polite. Go on.
At the top. And they say that loses some sensation for the banana, but I think they make do. And so that's going to be the first version of a Futanari character that we might run into. And so what we have next is this donut. That's going to represent the female body part usually found in explicit material. Right there, this delicious donut.
What are you doing, Professor Lando?
Right there. And so in the second form of a Futanari character, in the
that was sus. That was a caught moment. That was scripted by Malto himself.
Appearance of it, instead of the standard male package, you remove the tangerines, no tangerines, and in place of it,
those are narkies.
Would be the donut. The female.
You got the other hole down there. The chocolate donut.
Entrance where it normally would be, but with a banana protruding.
What the hell? Huh? Reminds you of a 2010s Vanos Pop Hunt vid? You were watching Futanari in the 2010s? Okay, we didn't need to know that, but alright, you do you, man. Also, what the heck is with the banana and donut combination? Is this a thing? Do people actually sit down and make media with this? This is an abomination. That's it. I'm calling Noah. We need another flood ASAP.
From
You
the
guys
top.
have gone too far.
Arguably, this is a more niche version compared to the standard male package
Prop onto the
being on a
banana.
Futanari,
Oh, my
but
bad.
otherwise popular within its own community. And for the third version of Futanari character,
Your favorite genres is Futa? We need to pray for you, and then we need to start an exorcism right now. Get on the holy table. I'm getting the holy water. We'll get Mountain Mancer with the fire. We're gonna purge you, man. Well, the challenge with Futa is trying to get out the most of limited space. Alright, never mind. Melt is also going on the exorcism table.
we're going to combine our entire meal and have a balanced, nutritious diet. We're going to have the standard meal package, like so.
Nuns are a good genre too. Nuns is, oh jeez, it feels like such an oxymoron, you know. I'm fireproof, not of holy fire, my liege, not of holy fire.
Upon our donut.
So what, you can just combine them all like that? You just collect genital parts like infinity stones to make a perfect Futanari? What kind of a crazy world is this?
Now, this might seem a little gluttonous to you, but to some people, this is their preference.
Wonder if Lando did a video about... About what? What even is that term? I've never heard of this before. Why do you know about all of these really suspicious words, Malto?
We can't argue that this is definitely a pillar of the Futanari genre.
I'm dead serious, it's real. As much as I want to say no, it's not real, it's not real. The world is a normal, seesaw, happy place. I know for a fact that that's not true, and you're probably telling the truth.
I think whether or not you prefer your tangerines with your banana, no tangerines with your banana, I think we can all agree that when it comes to Futanari, it's all delicious.
That's the gayest thing I've seen all day.
Well, that answers the question of what...
The random cut. He just... Well, that answers the question of it. The whiplash that I'm getting from this. The bro was eager, caught. He was a little bit too eager. He was ravenous.
is Futanari.
Ferocious, even.
But not why Futanari. And what do we mean by why Futanari? Well, why is it so popular? Let me give you some metrics here for reference. We're going to be pulling from two main sources, two main websites where Japanese explicit media, as well as other types of explicit media, are hosted. That would...
Oh, okay, he's gonna draw them. Oh, shoot. I thought he was gonna transition to a screen of, like, it's basically a straight up hentai. But it is YouTube, so that's probably not the case, thank goodness.
be these two websites right here. Now, for
Okay, R34. Okay, imagine that's probably, like, just a random gooner site. What is this, though? It looks like two umbrellas and the letter N. I probably know both of these, caught. Funny how... every time I learn something new about this degenerate world, it is always Malto that happens to know about them first. Coincidence?
For liability's sake, I'm not going to tell you exactly which websites these are, but I will say that these are the two most popular websites for hosting Japanese explicit
Okay.
media, as well as other types of explicit media. This one being for images, and this one being for doujins, or
What the hell's a dojin?
the comic manga version. And on the first website, there are 603,000.
What? That's more than 500,000. That is insane. Art? No, this is not art. This is heresy. This is degeneracy. We need the fires to rain down from heaven and cleanse this world. It is too much. I wonder how much of it is AI. When did he make this video? 1 year ago. Okay, so at least 30% is AI.
639 individual results.
Okay, I'm never
for
reading
the
a
word
doujin manga ever.
Futanari. And for the doujin site, there are 35,416 individual works posted with the tag Futanari.
Wait, didn't he say this site was videos? There were like 35,000 videos of this stuff? That's insane.
Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's a lot of Futanari. Now,
Yes, it is. It should be 0.
Now the question is why? Why do we like Futanari so much?
I saw what you did, Lando. You said I before you said we.
Well, the key thing here is projection. That's the
Yes, he is projecting.
term that I use to describe the phenomena
That's a lot of cock. Yes, it is.
at play here when it comes to Futanari. Much like how
Why are you guys... Why would you consume this type of media? Never mind the fact that this is, you know, created by the hundreds of thousands. Why do you consume this?
Charles Xavier, famed telepath leader of the X-Men, might project his conscious mind from one X-Men to another person. Tracer with a big fat... That's the type of projection.
Wait, isn't Tracer that Overwatch character? I'm bored, that's why. If you are bored, go gym.
I'm talking about here. Now let me go more into depth. The key appeal of the Futanari genre is understanding. Understanding what it feels like to have your chicken choked. So,
Bro, what is this? What manner of degeneracy have you guys recommended? This is not CISO. I did go to the gym sometime, go to the gym more.
I think the tabooness and the appeal of Futanari comes from having that sensation that men are so intimately familiar with and projecting it onto a female character or female form and having that character experience, know what it's like to have that pleasure.
Stop rubbing the ruler.
That's the tabooness. That is where the main appeal of Futanari comes into play. Basically, the appeal of Futanari can be summed up in this way. Hey, I know what it feels like, and I like that she knows what it feels like. But she's not supposed to, and that makes it hot. That's the...
That is seriously not the word that I would use to describe this. But okay, Professor Lando, whatever you say.
projection I'm talking about. It's witnessing these female characters experience the same pleasure that I feel, with a little bit of tabooness. Students, I'll ask you this. Why do we all like MILF so much?
Who's we?
Well, we all have a mother or can relate to some sort of motherly experience, positive
The
or
word
negative.
I would use, I'm gonna pray for you, brother.
And why do we all like furry so much?
I don't like furries. Is Professor Lando a furry?
Well, I think it's because we all have a innate primal nature, harkening back to our pharaoh ancestors that we all want to tap into and go primal. And that's why we like Futanari so much. It's because it's relatable. It's universal. And so intellectual detractors might say, hey, Professor Lando, if it's about relatability, then why wouldn't you just watch men? Isn't that the ultimate relatability? That's because we're missing out on the taboo element.
Furry was not bad, just don't search for it, not 34. Nope. Furries is always bad. Whenever I see any news related to furries, it's always bad. Whenever someone says, oh, but I'm a good furry, I ain't like one of those, years later it comes out, it wasn't what they said it was. And they got caught. I have yet to be proven wrong on this rule.
Men beating it? Well, I beat it. I've been beating it my whole life. Also, why would I watch
Caught.
men? What am I, gay?
I'm sorry, guys. But watching men and watching Futanaris is both gay. Me too. And all of them turned out bad.
To answer this question, I want to take a...
Hey, look, it's the furry. And, oh no, it's Sonic. Oh no. Please don't tell me Professor Lando has a Sonichu medallion.
look at one of my favorite scenarios. So what we have here is a visual representation for Plato's allegory of a cave. In regards to hardcore Futanari, I ask you this question, students. Are you the prisoner or are you the onlooker? What exactly are you lusting for? Are you lusting for the concept, the idea, the projection and relatability of the phallus on the female character? If so, then I purport that it is not gay.
I vehemently disagree. I think it's gay.
However, if that is not the reason you like Futanari, then there could be a whole nother discussion to be had. And maybe, just maybe, it might be gay. Okay, now we're going to
You might be gay, chap.
talk about something called the Futanari pipeline of self-discovery. So how does this diagram start?
We should probably call it the of self-degeneracy, but okay.
Well, it starts with the most basic exposure, hentai. Perhaps the first stage because of how accessible it is, especially with how provocative the visuals can be.
This man's got the gold medal in mental gymnastics. I 100% agree with that statement. This bro is using, like, the Reddit logic here, Twitter logic. The mental gymnastics is so profound. He is breaking Olympic records with his noodle doing little backflips inside of his noggin, you know, doing poll votes and everything, trying to justify this.
Mostly being animated media. This could be discovering a certain Teen Titans animation on Newgrounds, or...
I'm sorry, what? Aren't those all kids? Huh? I think we need to call the feds on Professor Lando here. Last I checked, the Teen Titans were in fact teens.
Or perhaps seeing a clip of some sort of animated, explicit Japanese fictional work. But eventually you go on to the next stage, which is doujins. A slew of content that you never knew existed before.
I literally didn't know that existed until today. Thanks to Malto and Professor Lando, now I do, and I hate it. I never thought Newground would have that kind of thing. I don't even know what Newgrounds is, and I don't even want to know.
The volumes are comparable to a Library of Alexandria, the sort of Library of
Alexandria, more like.
Alexandria of the modern age. When it comes to the animated works, this is the clickbait of the not safe for work pipeline. Because
it's although
there are some
Shut it down, boys.
Animated
we got
works,
a nuke
generally
billion.
speaking, these are not the best in hindsight. Of course, when you're first discovering, this is very sensational. But doujins, that's where the meat is at.
Also, not shocked the Zoomer wouldn't know about Newgrounds? Hey, I don't know about a lot of things, in fairness, not just whatever that is.
The care each panel has, the amount of work that can be explored, is why doujins is the next stage. Where do we go from there? Well, now we discover SFM, or 3D animation.
What the heck is SFM? What does that even stand for?
Never underestimate the human potential for evolution, students. SFM, or Source Filmmaker, which is a 3D software developed by Valve, or other 3D programs such as Blender,
Source
3D,
Filmmaker?
most popularly.
Okay, I know about the whole Blender thing. Apparently people who have access to Overwatch models and a copy of Blender on their computers make a lot of money. And I'm talking big bucks.
I believe, allowed people to create a whole
It's a
new
web that
world.
contains People OC and Original Madness Combat was, also FNF Originate, trust me. Alright, I'll take your word for it.
Of not safe for work media. 3D renders, 3D animation, taking the 2D planes, which have been available in doujins and in the animated 2D works, and bring them into a whole new dimension. Source Filmmaker and Blender. Part of this is being able to take community-made models.
And it was a Flash Adobe website. Remember Flash? Old again? Nope. I don't remember Flash. I never used Flash.
Assets and the sheer productivity, the sheer output going down this pipeline. What is inevitable as a next step? If you are consuming SFM or 3D media, you are bound to discover
Sad game?
Futanari.
Okay.
Yes, Futanari. Because Futanari, although apparent in both doujin works and in animated works, for some reason seems to be particularly present within 3D works. Now,
I
I'm not
wonder
saying
why
that
that
you
is.
can't skip a step here. Perhaps you might find your way more prevalently in doujins than animated, but still possible. Perhaps there are some works I'm not too familiar. Maybe you can send me some just so cross.
Excuse me, Professor Lando. What exactly do you mean by sending you some? This is not you sampling stuff for your research here. I'm on to you.
Friends, so what are we talking about here? Well, when you go down this pipeline up to this point here, you might be somewhat normal. As normal as...
No, you are not normal. The moment you cross this boundary right here, you have gone from normal to abnormal degenerate. I'm sorry, guys. I'm telling you the truth. If you pass this line up here, you have become Gooner, and you need serious help.
As you can be after discovering what these are. But upon discovering Futanari, I think, as a newly initiated person, you might be thinking, oh, I don't hate it. Maybe.
Don't tell bro about /d/. I don't know what that is. I stopped going to them for a year now. Based, now stop gooning to everything for eternity.
Kinda like it. So whether you follow the standard flow or perhaps find yourself off the beaten path a little bit, you get to this point.
Did he make a pun on a beaten path?
And you have to admit something to yourself.
Futanari mode like Futanera? Thank you. Amen to that, brother. We need to cleanse these degenerates from their unholiness. 4chan hentai alternative? Why do you know all of this information, Malto? Bro's been all over the Gooner net.
Hey, kind of like that. And where do we go from here? On an entirely
Oh no. No. They just had to bring it up. The allegations.
Separate pipeline. Maybe you could see something like this happening.
I'm glad you think it's funny, Asunder.
Now, instead of liking female characters, those are just dudes. But hey, I think students, what you're saying is, but Professor Lando, no.
By the way, that is, both of them are gay. I don't care what Lando says, they're both gay.
No, they're feminine. They're breedable and submissive and or.
No, they're not.
Well, once you're at this stage, there is a way you might find yourself even deeper.
What goes even deeper than Oh, it's just straight up men. Ted said it best. You mean Uncle Ted? The based Unabomber?
F it, I just like men. No.
He went out and said it. Source, trust me, both true.
Obviously, what I'm trying to say here is not that Futanari
you guys can trust my
going
opinions.
to turn someone bi or gay. You can't turn someone into something they're not. You can't change them. You can't turn them into being gay or bi. But
alright, I disagree, boys. I think there are no chicks with dicks, only guys with tits. Yeah, it's just because they're fat. Anyways, hold on, I need to light. My tracking's completely getting paused here. Hope you don't mind. Anyways, I have a crack theory. The hentai is in fact an entrance in Ted the Bear, I see, into the pipeline that is designed to destroy Western civilization. Hear me out. Because once you get the population hooked on the hentai, it leads them down the beaten path for them to become gay. And if they become gay, you can convert someone to the femboy side. It's called sissification cult. Technically true. And so, hear me out, boys. Once the Western powers have consumed the pornographic media, the hentai, they then go down the pipeline to being gay, which means their birth rates drop, which means there's less of their population, which means the other populations that are not native grows out of control, which means they slowly begin to lose, their voice and their power. It's a perfectly designed trap to destroy Western civilization. Think about it for a second. That's exactly what it does. It hooks you in with the big bazonkas. Next thing you know, you're gay. And suddenly you're not having 5 kids and a lovely wife. Suddenly you're ending up with several hundred dudes over your lifetime, not contributing to society as you should. And that's how the West has fallen. Trap. The beaten path, Jorkin. Yep, that is technically probably what he means. Why does this go dark? I'm just saying, boys. Explicit material is designed to destroy society. That's my hot take. And we will not mention what ethnicity or the length of the nose of the guy who owns the hub. But you can guess for yourself. Gay is better than OnlyFans wife, is it? I think both are degenerate. I'm just saying. Now if you had to choose, well, you know, do you want the well-trodden road going into the widest tunnel you've ever been to, or, you know, oy vey? Malto, stop noticing.
But maybe this might reveal what's inside.
Yes, it's going to cause you to fall into degeneracy, and degeneracy breeds degeneracy. It's a slippery slope. It was never, I was always gay. No. You were fine until you got hooked, until you got trapped. Then you became gay. I want someone who can make chicken nuggets. Amen to that. A good chicken nugget goes a long way, especially when it's got the perfect sauce to dip it in.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the different types of subgenres within Futanari that you might run into.
There's subgenres? Excuse me, hello? What?
Okay, so the first subgenre that you're probably going to run into the most is going to be Futa on female. And an example of this would be...
Please don't draw something explicit. I'm praying he is not. Okay, never mind. Never mind.
Shizune.
Teriyaki? What on earth is teriyaki? You know a lot of words that I don't.
From Naruto. Tsunade here being the Futanari.
I actually thought that was Sakura for a second. I just saw big forehead and diamond, and I was like, hey, look at Sakura.
The character, and Shizune being the standard female character. Now, the reason I've chosen these two characters to demonstrate this scenario is because within the canonical material, the series Naruto, Tsunade and Shizune are a pair.
That's a sauce? Oh, my bad. Oh, clearly I know nothing about food. I want a girl who can cook me dino nuggets willingly. Yes, we all
friends. Shizune serving as an aide to Tsunade, who is the Hokage for a time. And
the Hokage, boys. The Hokage.
Introducing the Futanari aspect within this pairing specifically, and other types of female and female pairings that you might usually see in the source material, it is able to take their relationship and introduce this sort of new flavor to it. Now, there already is fan-made content of explicit nature, right? Being images or doujins of these two characters. And
wait, how does he know this? That's a little bit sus, right? To know that they're both images and doujin. Bro is legit artist though? Absolutely. Like when he draws characters, even in their simplicity, they're actually pretty well drawn. I actually like it. Sometimes it's a little bit too well drawn, like whenever he draws a Sonic the Hedgehog. It's well known though. I didn't know this.
Other female.
And I assume Professor Lando did extensive research to verify this. X-female is just Yuri. Futa X-female is technically Yuri. It doesn't matter what it is. It's still abhorrent to degeneracy, in my opinion.
Characters partaking in coitus, lovemaking. And that
what the heck's a coitus?
Already is a sort of rush and tabooness in itself, but introducing
I know some messed up stuff because I went to school. Well, I went to school in Africa. We learned nothing.
Or something else. You're taking it to that boundary.
All
in all, when it comes to Futanari, this model is pretty standard stuff. Okay, so the next subgenre that we're going to take
143,000? Holy.
The look at is Futa on Futa. Okay, so the example I'm choosing here is Cammy and Juri from Street Fighter. So obviously in this subgenre,
I've never heard of these people
Futanari, you take two characters that are usually portrayed as female in the source material, and they are both Futanari characters. What I think really sets this subgenre apart from the others is the combative nature of it, as opposed to the first one, Futan female, where there is a very clear give and take in the relationship. I enjoy the sort of clashing that might appear in Futanari and Futanari.
Did he just out himself as someone who enjoys Futa x Futa? He did say he enjoys it, right? Why the long face, Yuri? Actually, you got a point. That is like 20% longer than the other one.
That's why I've chosen these characters.
There's probably an inside joke there, but I don't know.
Street Fighter, of course, Cammy and Juri. It's sort of a battle, and that's where the fun is. Okay, and the last subgenre that I'm going to cover is Futa on male, or
which, by the way, is gay.
Futanari on male. Okay, my example for this would be 2
Oh yeah, it's 2B. I actually haven't seen any media regarding 2B. Apparently it's a video game and also a series. If the series is good, maybe I'll watch it.
B from Nier Automata, and
Hey look, it's Vasali Mojito, right? Just add a little bit of patterns to his shirts and you got the guy, right? Also give him a little bit of ears and a tail and you got him. Nice. Small cameo from Vasali. Nier Automata is a great game. It's him? Yeah, literally. Hey Vasali, could you explain to chat why you're in the FudoX male media? Hmm? And what do you have to say about you being consumed in that way in terms of content? Play the game if you can versus watching the anime. Or if I can run it, maybe I'll play it on stream sometime. Kamen Rider Kabuto's grandmother said this: walking the path of heaven, the men who will rule everything, and none of us ain't going to the path of heaven for real. Very few people are. That's Professor Lando's fault, my lord, so still we'll be talking to him. Maybe they're the ones who supplied him with the explicit material of you and the Futa. I joke, of course I joke. That reminds me of when I was watching 2B Hero X, and the journal reporter looks so much like Fasali's model that I just immediately went like, oh my goodness, mind blown. It was such a lookalike.
Professor Lando.
All he needed was the ears and tails. Wait. Oh, wait, he actually drew himself? So he's basically out of himself as having how would I put this? An interest in consuming content of himself being with a Futa 2B. Futa X male just seems fleshly pegging, yep. Oh wait, caught, yep. Look at that face. He's telling you straight. I want to get pegged by a Futa.
The traditional role that men often find themselves forced into by societal norms is one where men are predominantly
Bro, look at that smug face he drew himself with.
the acting force, specifically in relationships. But sometimes we need these roles reversed. And what do I mean by that? Well,
He's a pegging enjoyer. I see where he's going with this.
sometimes men might like the door held open for them. Or maybe sometimes they would...
I actually heard a funny story about the whole holding out the, opening the door for the women. So apparently, some structure, I don't know if it was a castle, a big building, was being shot at by cannon fire from ships. And so some guy tried to go through the door, in front of his wife and kids to make sure that, it was safe for them to enter. But the wife pushed past him and just barged in through the door, and she was hit with a cannonball to the face. And ever since that moment, men have allowed women through the door first so they can get shot first. The more you know. I don't know if it's true, but it was pretty funny.
Get a compliment. Or maybe sometimes they would like the other person to pay for the check at dinner time.
If a guy gets a compliment, he will remember that compliment for the next 15 years and the exact date and time that it was given to him.
And sometimes
it's true.
They want Futanari 2B to plow them like the fertile lands of Mesopotamia.
Professor Lando wants to be plowed.
So it is in this way that Futanari on male might be the most complicated, but perhaps the most rewarding of the subgenres of Futanari.
This entire video is just him exposing himself.
And I've been speaking mostly on Futanari on male, but of course this implies that the male could top the Futanari character. But that is for the weak of soul and mind and body. Only the weakest, whose bloodlines are inevitably bound to wither away and die, would prefer to top a Futanari 2B when the option to get topped by a Futanari 2B exists.
What? That was one of the wildest mental gymnastic logic arguments I've ever heard in my life. It's like, yes, topping the Futanari is certainly an experience, but the real Chad experience is getting topped by the Futanari. What a wild conclusion.
Now, a lecture on the subject of Futanari
Hey, there's the Catboy posters.
Would not be complete if we did not talk about Overwatch.
Oh no, I know he mentioned Tracer, and then he brought up Blender, and I was like, I immediately know where this is going. Please don't tell me Tracer food is a thing. This is what I'm picking up. I hope it's not true. He has a point though. Is it gay to do a dude or let the dude do you? It's equally gay.
This first-person shooter game, developed by Blizzard Entertainment, released on 2016, took the world by storm. It's hard to really adequately describe how popular Overwatch was, from the fan-made content, cosplays, art, to the competitive scene, the casual gaming scene, all the videos on YouTube and clips online. Overwatch was simply a phenomenon. Okay, well students, you might be wondering, why are we talking about Overwatch? Well, it's because when it comes to Futanari,
oh, the music is coming
there is so much Futanari based on Overwatch. I
freaking knew it, man. Why? Why would you do this to me? Now whenever I see Overwatch, I'm gonna think of Futanari.
I have seen so much Overwatch Futanari. And not just Futanari, there's just so much
Overwatch not that animation bad so much a period of time. It's also the gooning is what made Blender great. Gooning is also what advanced AI technology. You see, the greatest of technological advancements is made by gooners.
Overwatch out there. On the previously mentioned not safe for work image hosting site, there are 101,367 results for Overwatch. That aside, what is the answer to the question, why is there so much Overwatch Futanari? Well, it's
Bioshock Infinite walked over Overwatch. So walked so Overwatch could run. Oh, jeez, I had a stroke. I'm so sorry. I heard Bioshock was actually a really nice game. I actually want to try it. VHS won the full Warmat War because of. Is that true? That is wild. I had no idea about this VHS lore.
Overwatch feels like you're getting
all the Elizabeth art. Oh no. Please do not ruin my experience. I got a copy of Bioshock, I think Infinite. I want to play it on stream without any mind goblins. Advancements from gooning, war, or accident. No exceptions, true and real.
By every character that they have to give each character a dick so you can probably get by your teammates no matter who they play. Additionally, to answer the question, is it gay to like Overwatch Futanari?
Yes.
My answer? Yes.
Finally, we're in agreement.
And it's not because of the Futanari.
Wait, what? Bro completely lost me there. It's not because of that? Excuse me, hello? What could it possibly be?
Because I can't think of anything gayer than liking Overwatch.
Okay, never mind. Solid point. If you play or if you consume Overwatch content, you're gay. Simple as. Same, okay, not same for WoW, but slightly same for WoW. Except whenever I think of WoW players, I think of balding millennials. That is what I think of when I think of WoW. Same as when I think of, what is that other random shooter that was like CSGO for women? What was it? What's that woman shooter? There we go, Valorant, that's the one. There we go. Everyone immediately knows what I'm talking about. Alana, yeah, you see, Alana is a balding millennial who weighs 400 pounds. And when you think of Valorant, you think of just, women gamers. Every franchise has got its stereotypes, and they've got them for a solid reason. Team Fortress 2 is the best. Apparently, Team Fortress 2 is riddled with bots. That's what I think of when I think of Team Fortress 2. In terms of competitive shooters, what has been my favorite? It's really hard to say. I mean, the only competitive shooters that I already played was like Overwatch, right? I mean, I've played co-op shooters before, like, I've played a bit of Black Ops Zombies, I've played Halo. But I think my best memories probably comes from Halo, but that's usually just playing on the same team. I'm an Unreal Tournament man. I think I've actually played that many years ago. It looks so familiar.
Hello students, thank you so much for watching the video. Professor Lando here with a little bit of an announcement. I'm going to be making an appearance at Anime Expo this year, July 4th.
Oh sweet. Oh no, it's July. We missed it, boys. Damn it.
In Los Angeles, California. I'll be having a meet and greet on the second...
What kind of meet? Oh, no, he spelled with 2 E's. Never mind. We don't have to ask that question.
Day of that weekend in collaboration with Omina, the apparel lifestyle merchandise brand. To go along with that, we're going to be releasing our next merch collab with Omina at Anime Expo with an online release coming this summer. Here's our new varsity jacket along with that
Actually, that goes pretty hard. I'm, I'm a Roblox decaying winter guy. I don't even know what that is. You can catch the end if you go today. Yeah, but this was in 2024. Has it been going on for a full year?
Shirt I was wearing earlier that you can wear to show off.
Also, I don't know what is up with these random hoodies that you guys have in the US, but we do not have this in South Africa. This style of hoodie.
Your school spirit and show everyone that you are a Ligma University
Like the hoodies with buttons. We don't have that here.
Catboy. We're also going to have this cross-body bag with the Ligma University.
What do you mean cross-body bag? That's just a shoulder strap fanny pack. What are you talking about?
Right there, where you can store all of your school supplies. Ample room to have a lot of miscellaneous items such as the Professor Lando plushie that's also going to be available. Again, this...
He should have one for all of his forms. You should have the Futa Lando plushie. You should have the Femboy Lando plushie. You should have the Furry Lando plushie. You know, just diversify his merch a little bit.
As well as some other items are going to be launching at Anime Expo.
Why is he holding a condom pack in his fingers, by the way? What is up with that?
With an online release coming later this summer. If you happen to...
Yeah, it was last year, unfortunately.
I hope to see you. And if not, I'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you so much, students.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Wow, Clappy, that was a good video. That's his mic? No, it's not. It's actually a mic. Oh, wow. I'm blind gay. It's actually a mic. Oh man. Oh, I think the video just completely ruined me. That's normal. Oh. I think I'm just broken. All right, let me link you guys the video. Clappies, that was a good one. Actually, no, it was very gay, but you know, he put it in a good format. We'll give him a like. Bing. All right. Brained to Denke, corrupted, true, brain fried. It's just. And now we're moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to the main event. I'm sure you guys are all excited for this one. Les Femboyas. Oh jeez, I just look at here and it says Femboozy. Oh no. Do I even want to know where this goes? I don't think I want to know, guys. This looks beyond cursed. Nevertheless, let's get into it. See what we can find. Maybe it's good educational content, you know? Okay, now I can see it's actually on his pants. Yeah, it is a mic. I thought it was something else.
What are we talking about today? Femboys.
Thankfully, no one has 10k points to redeem the allegations. This is gonna be a rough one for Fox Prager. Whew, I'm huffing on the copium. This is gonna be very tough to deny the allegations here.
Colloquially, might be called fembology. I think technically...
Fembology?
Speaking is femboyology. Again, colloquially as femboys with an I. In terms of pronunciation, I think we are talking about femboys.
Okay, we got the pronunciation down.
As most of our definitions do. Coming from Wikipedia, femboy is a slang term for a young male who displays traditionally feminine characteristics. So a male who displays traditionally, right, feminine characteristics.
Which immediately rules me out, by the way. As a femboy, you are doing great so far, Professor. He just outed himself.
A bit of history. The word femboy emerges by at least the 90s, the 1990s, and beginning...
Uwu femboys are different from femboys. Same species though. Oh, apparently we got subtypes. Like a cute sneeze moan. Excuse me, I have the manliest sneeze ever. When I sneeze, I go, ha-twa! And the ground shakes in awe of my mighty sneeze. You know, it's like a clap of thunder. Kapwa!
As a sort of derogatory term for a man who didn't adhere to, traditional standards of masculinity.
Haven't seen it before then? It's because you can't see it. You can only hear it. Big brain.
Being a slang shortening of the word feminine. Right here. And boy, obviously coming from the fact that they are male. It does seem that, especially in internet
twink.
culture, that femboy, the term femboy, has emerged as sort of a positive term.
No. Whenever it's done as used to bully me, it's not a positive term.
Appealing to a range of individuals.
Holy text wall. It's a simplified Elden Ring, not as hard, but annoying. You literally bleeding debuff in the game from a simple stab wound, which can kill you. Oh jeez. And a big sledgehammer who put half his sister into stealth in a raid boss that's harder than the actual boss. Okay, I appreciate the summary. Yeah, typing. Bro wrote an entire essay. Damn. And it wasn't even on topic. But I appreciate the effort, man. I appreciate the effort.
Attracted to a mix of feminine and masculine traits. Perhaps even prompting a genre of internet media. In recent times, the platform Pornhub
just straight up mentions it.
Has even introduced the term femboy as a searchable category on its
How does he know this, by the way? Did he search for it himself?
Website, and that happened in 2013. And since then, the search interest for the term has dramatically increased. So, again, we're going back to the idea of...
I wonder why.
The origins of femboy being, Wikipedia states derogatory and becoming more and more, you could say perhaps is...
Peak until it gets banned in my country,
I would
based
like to
country.
make the comparison to like the word weeaboo.
Teacher are the legends of Femboy Land Troop. Sorry guys, it's not true. It's in fact a myth. Doesn't exist.
Starting as a
video research probably.
A little derogatory. True. But being used... sometimes tongue-in-cheek, but definitely becoming a sort of positive term. That
is it gay to want to have relations with a femboy, or is it a gray area? It's gay.
I do think it's not wrong of me to say that someone that we would think fits in this category of femboy would refer to themselves as a femboy. Femboy, the term, noted. Right? As I just said, it came to be adopted as a self-descriptor. Descriptor for guys who tend toward presenting feminine.
It's gay to like femboy, that is actually true.
A scale of femininity,
yes,
some more than others, some less, for non-sexual purposes, right? These persons adopt femininity as a form of everyday expression.
I like how people spamming in his comments that it's not a searchable character. I mean, searchable term in the hub. So apparently he was lying.
Expression.
Hope it's not gay to watch a femboy. Yes, it is. But thankfully, I'm not one.
Right. Donning a traditionally
gay
feminine aesthetic by wearing, it could be a range, right? It can include all of the following or one. Wearing makeup, feminine.
Verdant Rose VT. I wonder if that's a VTuber who's a femboy.
Clothing, dresses, thigh highs, panties.
Excuse me, what? They wear that? It's kind of gay.
Garter belts and chokers.
I also recently learned what a choker was, and it was like last year or so. Someone explained it to me. Originally, I was like, "What is that on your neck?" Oh, it's a choker. I'm like, "What does it do?" Oh no, it's just you put it around the neck to look pretty. I'm like, "But why? It looks weird." It's just a strangle hazard. Like, yeah, that's just the cherry on top or something. What? This is weird. Outfit ideas? Don't you dare. If you put a choker on me, I'm going to throw something. Look. The guys are only allowed to wear holy pendants and a cross on their necklace. That's it. Anything else is no-go. It's just gay otherwise.
Being a femboy, it doesn't necessarily tie to any sexual orientation. Very often, question is it gay?
It is gay, boys. 100%.
Complicated answer. I know you want a yes or no answer, and it cannot be done.
Yes, it can. It's gay. Choker with a cross to match the goth socks? Excuse me, there is no goth socks, and you're not putting a choker on me, and that is final. I'm laying down the ground rules, people. You are not putting me in some ooh-woo outfit.
Tackle the question, are femboys gay? Very common question. A little uninformed and, a little ignorant, if you ask me. But I'm not here to judge. I'm here to teach.
Okay, we got the diagram. Sweet.
Mechanics.
Oh, this is Schrodinger's cat, right? Yeah. Just like me, who's got Schrodinger's accent.
Schrodinger's cat is a
Oh, it's Schrodinger's. Oh, sorry, it was Schrodinger's.
thought experiment that illustrates a paradox of quantum superposition. Schrodinger's cat, literally
In Greece,
a cat
was
in
only
this
gay if you were the receiver caught. Well, the Greece lied to you. It's gay both ways.
thought experiment is encased in this box, right? And there's a flask of poison right here and a radioactive source placed in a sealed box. If an internal
Schrodinger's
monitor,
cat boy, lol.
in this case a Geiger counter, detects radioactivity, as in a single atom decaying, the flask right here is shattered, releasing the noxious poison,
Okay.
which in turn kills the cat. The Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics
Cope. Nice.
implies that
Are femboys are like Futa? Not really clear. Is it gay or it's okay if they gonna Nizumi. It's gay. Simple as.
after a while, the cat is simultaneously both alive or dead. The thought experiment is that once you look into the box, you can see that the cat is either going to be alive or dead. When you literally open the box, you can't see it both be alive and dead. It's either going to be alive or dead.
Yep.
But before you observe it to be, before you open the box,
I'd rather watch all Ultraman series and watch Femboy for 5 minutes. I'm sure we all would.
to look inside and see it, it's either alive or dead until you confirm it. Schrodinger's cat, or
I disagree with that, by the way. I think it's a whole lot of rubbish.
another, aka Schrodinger's femboy. Gay and not gay at the same time.
In ancient Greece, it wasn't gay. They're younger than 10, so we don't consider their opinion. Wait, what? It wasn't gay if it's kids? Excuse me? You Greeks are weird people. I think I think you're right, man. We can no longer regard Greek opinions. You've been watching this one for close to an hour, though. What one? There isn't one. Unless you mean Professor Lando, there ain't no other ones here.
It doesn't feel right to say it's strictly gay, but it's definitely not straight.
Athens
This
history.
harkens back to the definition of gender expression.
Not the history
being,
I was hoping to learn today.
Feminine as a guy. The world is not black and white.
Yes, it is.
Binaries. We work in shades of gray. Or shades of gay. Moving on.
I knew he was going to make that pun before he even made it. Shades of Grey? Okay. Similar to how when in high school we had to read, what was it, Dorian Gray? Every single person called him Dorian Gay. And the teacher's like, well, guys, you know this novel, you know it's about this guy called Dorian, and trust me, the main theme is not about gayness. But when we got the papers that we had to study on the book that teach us, you know, all about the topics and stuff about it, the first thing it mentions is homosexuality. So clearly it was a defining feature of the novel. Nah, Underworld Fox, I'm not femboy, right? True, I am not.
Any questions about that? I think I'm being pretty straightforward about this.
That's
Being
a nice mug.
femboy, dressing effeminate, again, can be a sort of gender expression role. It doesn't always have to be sexual. However,
It always is.
maybe a little misguided to
The author was
completely
super gay called, wow, gay people write gay fiction. Who knew? We read a book written by a gay lord in school? Aw, damn. Is it at least a good novel? Like, I imagine, you know, you can be gay and still produce good literary works. But I feel like you're more likely to write gay characters if you are one yourself. You know, because it's something you relate to. It's your area of expertise, so to speak. And writers tend to, you know, have strong confidence in writing something that they are pretty expert in. Or at least, you know, by some tangent or something that, you know, they write something that was inspired by their own life. Gaylord is somewhat a common last name. Oh, a last name. I thought you meant it was a gay space lord, as in it was written by a lord who happened to be gay. Okay, interesting. Or he was the lord of gayness. That's what I thought when you mentioned that. My bad. Thanks for the clarification.
ignore that side of things. So, you know, we're going to be talking about, and you know, this is a subject that I'm very familiar with, in fact, our groundbreaking research on this subject is what got me my initial platform here at Ligma University.
Groundbreaking research. I wonder if it's got anything to do with the Astolfo figurines he keeps on his desk.
We're going to be talking about the bussy.
No, please. 9! 9 bussy. 9! 9! 9! 9! 9!
Why is it so submissive and breedable?
It's not! 9! 9 submissive! 9 breedable! 9 bussy!
You know, we talk about the bussy, we talked about submissive and breedable, and that the intersection, the union rather, is bussy, but we never answered the question, why the bussy?
This is not a question I expected to hear today.
On the surface level, one might consider a male's entrance to be the exact opposite of breedable when compared to
I agree, right? If you can't breed, it's not breedable.
the conventional woman's bussy, or wussy, as I call it.
Freaking wussy. Interesting. Consider the bussy. Ruminate upon it. No, this is not like pondering the orb when you can ponder the bussy. That is not how it works. You should not be pondering it. You should not be considering it. It should not enter your mind.
But that is the exact reason why the
Lest it
bussy is
corrupts
so
you.
desirable.
No, it's not. It's not desirable.
I think it has to do with subversion. The fact that the male entrance is not supposed to be bred makes it that much more desirable.
I'm pretty sure there was an experiment a while back. I don't know if it was actually done or if it was a thought experiment, but apparently people are more likely to want to enter a door that says no entry than a door that doesn't say no entry. People are lawless and they like breaking rules. That's probably why they like bussy.
Cookie jar that your mom left out. You can only have one after dinner. Don't go near that cookie jar, you know.
By the way, guys, I don't actually like cookies. There's only a single type that I actually enjoy, made by a very specific company, but other than that, I don't even like cookies. It's like pressing a big red button. True. One way code.
Don't go, hey, get away from my bussy. Again,
This is literally what I have to tell you people.
a woman's bussy, a wussy, is traditionally, biologically meant to be bred, but to breed another male, to dominate another male. I mean, what is more masculine than that? I can't.
That is not masculine, that's gay. Your cookies mine then? You're welcome to have the cookies, man. I'm not a big cookie enjoyer, but there is that one that I like. Mom usually gets them. Mine, fine. I'm also not a cake person. A Roman mentality. True. A little bit more reformed than Roman, but yes. I also don't like cake. I eat milk tart though. Milk tart, ooh. Milk tart is perfect. I just got a Colgate ad. How do you get ads in South Africa? Bro, I've never gotten any Twitch ads. What's wrong with you? Oh, you're probably on mobile. That's probably why.
Anything more masculine.
Just use Brave. Just got my first one. Oh no, did they finally start rolling out ads to South Africans? It's Jover, boys. Our ad-free viewing experience is dying.
Then making another
It's Jover,
male
true.
submit their bussy to you. The ultimate act of masculinity.
No, that is not the ultimate act of masculinity. That is absolute gay cope.
In fact, the ultimate
The heck we watching? Femboys explained. This was submitted by a certain chatter. Don't advertise anything because it's unlikely anything can be afforded. Caught. That hits me to my soul as a fellow broke person.
act of heterosexuality, if I've ever seen it. Fight or flight. You're in the wild. Hunting.
Ads means they think you have money to spend, so good thing. But I don't have any money to spend.
For, that bussy in the jungle.
Pussy in the jungle. Fox always saying he's masculine. Well, I am. I can do more push-ups than you.
It's about who is the apex predator? Who is the apex bussy blaster?
Pussy Blaster 9000. Nah, you should save that money you got. Yes, I'm gonna be saving. Actually, I have a very good idea what I'm gonna use it for. So you guys know that I use tracking for my phone, and the problem with that is that it only lasts like 2 hours before the battery just goes kaput, and then, you know, I lose access to any sort of tracking. So what I'm thinking of is saving up to buy myself a webcam. That way I can stream for as long as I want without having to sacrifice my phone's battery power. Additionally, it'll allow me to read chat on the side, you know, while it's plugged in and charging, which allows me to play games in full screen, you know, for a much better enjoyment, you know, of playing games on stream. Furthermore than that, a phone charger doesn't work, it's too short. And yes, the charging port on my phone is damaged, so I have to angle it in a very specific angle when charging it, which I can't do while it's busy recording me. I've literally got this device clamped to my desk, which is like a giant bendable rod, which then hangs over, kind of like one of those bendable desk lamps with a little gripper that's got my phone busy levitating on my desk. The phone charger doesn't reach it, and even if it did, it wouldn't be able to charge because I wouldn't be able to hold in the angle with it. Longer charge is cheaper than a new phone. Yes, but I do not want to incinerate my phone's battery any longer than I have to. And there are additional benefits to having my phone free and available, such as being able to read chat so that I can play games in full screen, and also so that I'm quickly able to go into other streamers that I raid to see what they say when they welcome me in. So it's just overall a good investment. Additionally, I can get a little bit more pixelage on the tracking, and this allows the tracking to be somewhat higher quality. Just saying. So I think that's a good investment. It's that or a RAM stick. But I need to get both. And after that, we need to save up for an SSD, because I'm tired of taking 20 minutes to boot this thing.
In the wild, eat or get eaten. A little bit of history. Not sure how you pronounce this. Kocek? Kosek? What is the kocek? The kocek, plural being koçekler, in Turkish, was typically a very handsome young male. Unfortunately,
so it's my moderator, okay.
Perhaps a slave, raucous, or a dancer who usually cross-dressed in feminine attire and was
never mind, I'm sorry, YT, that's not you.
Was employed as an entertainer. We don't have any.
Okay, he's actually got a pretty decent way of drawing.
Pictures,
nice.
Of course, pictures didn't exist back then, but I imagine something like this. Kocek. Before starting their performance, these Turkish...
It actually looks like that Finnish meme character with the mustache.
Dancers, these koceks, male dancers, would dance among the spectators to rile them up, to get them more excited.
Okay.
And this really speaks to how you know, we talk about why the bussy. This is why. The competition to garner the attention of these koceks by people sitting in the audience often caused so much commotion and altercations, fights. Men in the audience would go wild. They would literally fight each other. They'd break their glasses. They would shout, kill.
So like those LA protesters. Okay.
Each other. Yes, you heard me. Men in Turkey would kill each other for the bussy.
I need to ask my moderator about this. Someone ping YT in the Discord and clip this and ask him, is it true that men in Turkey used to kill each other for the bussy? Someone's got to do it.
History. If we don't learn from it, we're doomed to repeat ourselves.
Damn, that Turkey bussy strong AF.
And it seems like we are repeating in full force. The Femboys have existed for a very long time, and this seems to be encoded in our DNA.
Hard disagree, boys. We're wired only for the women's.
Bussy, bussy. Yeah.
I even turned it into a breast-thumping chant.
Yes, because we see the remnants of the kocek still today. What does this remind you of? Right.
Buzzy is more important than food. Buzzy is more important than water. These people got a little bit too much of the buzzy cravings.
I don't think it's a rhetorical, because I think you know the remnants of the kocek still today. That is Link, Gerudo Link. Yes, from the Breath of the Wild. Another example could be Lilac Cookie from Cookie Run Kingdom. These
I've never heard of that before, but okay. I did hear people call Link the Fan, but I can't confirm. I've never played any of these Link games.
are artifacts. And the reason why we like it so much is because, it's in the blood of our ancestors. I think
Well, I'm not Greek, okay? I'm descended from the proud Germans, and I will make it great again.
We would be wrong to talk about Femboys without at least mentioning the word.
Zelda games? Yeah, those. I've never played any. I heard Breath of the Wild is pretty good, but I've never played it.
Trap. I do not like this word, but to not talk about this word in discussion with Femboys, it's just ignoring the obvious. I don't like this word. The implication of the word trap implies this, like, secretive, like, almost malicious, like, undercover, like you're tricking people.
This happens a lot in anime, where a very clearly my English, where a very clearly hold on, an anatomical female is clearly drawn with female proportions, and it is clearly a woman, then they will retroactively say, no, it's a guy. They have deceived you into lusting after the trap. It is a thing that happens. I've seen it happen. I'm pretty sure there was one in ReZero.
Right? Deceitful, like
the one with the that looks like it's in a maid outfit and looks like a cat that Smugalana posted to me once.
You're tricking them.
That one.
Or you're trapping them, right? And so, you know, the origins of the word, I think, were referring to like an
Catboy? Yeah, that one.
Anime.
You know what's like the blue and the white?
A boy that is effeminate, that looks like a girl.
I'm glad you think it's funny.
Sometimes more attractive than.
As a trans male to female, don't like this word either. Well, that's exactly what you are, pal. Sorry to say it.
A girl. Not to be confused with a trap, as in the ghetto, you know, where people are stuck in a cycle of selling drugs and hustling to survive, and therefore
literally South Africa, bros.
Trapped and unable to leave and make a better life for themselves. No, that's the trap. We're talking about traps. I think originally it was supposed to stay, you know, in terms of fictional realm, right? But okay. I don't know who.
My buzzy got that death grip, but that's it. Bro, the comment section in this guy is absolutely wild. Holy, you would swear it's June, the amount of pride that they got in there for the buzzy.
Co-opted this word, started to apply it to real people. That's when we start to get into this territory of, again, I don't like this pretext of like, we're trapping people. I really don't like this use of the word, and why I think this is very outdated, right? Like, first,
I feel like there is a case to be made here for the word trap. Trap should be applied to clearly anatomically feminine characters that the that the animators decide, okay, it's actually a guy, despite clearly drawing it with woman proportions. And by the way, guys don't have woman proportions. I don't care what they teach you in gender studies, we are anatomically different. You can always tell a guy from a girl just by looking at their hands. Like a good example, the index to ring finger ratios is always different in men than it is in women. That's why whenever someone says I'm a woman, I tell them post hands. Not because I've got a hand fetish, but because it's the litmus test to see whether or not it's actually a woman or not. And so I would say that, you know, when something is clearly presented as a woman, and it's never elaborated on except to retroactively say it's dude, and it was, you know, especially if other characters fall into the trap, I'll be like, wow, damn, you know, you're so cute. And be like, actually, I'm a guy. You got trapped. Simple as. Which is completely different from a clearly anatomically correct dude putting on the skirt and the thigh highs and the, I don't know, the butt plug tail or whatever.
First and foremost, it's being used.
The real traps are the girls who say they're 20 to get into bars but are way too young. When in doubt, kick them out. Here's what I do. I just don't go to bars. I've only ever been to one, and that was for 21st party, and I sat there and I was bored. The only saving grace was that I was fortunate enough to have another guest with me who also didn't drink. We were at least able to talk, you know, in our isolated little corner like a couple of nerds. And yes, I did have a couple of women giving me very suggestive looks, and I just flat out ignored them. Thankfully. I wasn't going to take the risk. I had guababa. And for those of you guys who know what guababa is, a teaspoon of guababa a day keeps the humbling experience away, which is the fear of shooting a shot or approaching women. Guabibi will always save you, my friends. Always have a teaspoon of Gubaba. But other than that, I was very bored at that pub. Or club, technically, yes. But it was very funny when the girl whose birthday it was got pissed out of her mind with booze, and she randomly walked up to one of the guests she invited and started confessing her love to him. And that was funny, despite puking all over his shoes. I took an audio recording to show her later, which was really funny.
Malicious intent. It's being used as like a derogatory term, right? First and foremost. But there's a secondary aspect that
The only people getting offended are not being about to say the word transphobes. Oh no, the istophobers.
I think we aren't even acknowledging, which is that it's fundamentally flawed and wrong to equate the word trap with a femboy, or to equate the idea of a trap with a femboy. Why? Because I'm not being fooled. I'm actively seeking out the dick and the...
How does he say this with such a straight face? I could never say this in front of people. At least not without losing my composure.
Pussy. I'm not being fooled. My intention is first and foremost that these are men. That they have dick. At this
The way he just paused.
point, it's just, again, forget the derogatory usage of it. It's just simply not right. It's counterintuitive to the modern appreciation, the modern usage of people being femboys. Because I think if
How do we feel about female to male femboys? Those aren't femboys. That is just, you're going so far around that you've come back to the other side. You've completely horseshoed yourself into becoming a woman again.
if you're a male and you want to be a femboy, I don't think that it's not right for you to feel like you need to pretend to not be male. I think the point of fembology, of femboyology, is that it can be a sort of empowering feeling. You can be a femboy and not be afraid to say that I can be effeminate and a male. I'm not trapping anyone. I'm not fooling anyone. That's not my intention. And if you're seeking it out in that term, that's just, we're not about that. Why do I feel strongly about this? Because I myself have engaged the practice, and I guess this comes to my next point. The next question is, the question is, I'm talking about femboys. We're lecturing about femboys.
Yes,
Professor
that is true.
Lando, are you a femboy?
What do you think the answer is, guys? I haven't seen this far. Is Professor Lando a femboy? Now, I wouldn't ask the question about myself, because the obvious answer is no, despite what the smugglers will tell you. But I wonder if Lando is. Maybe. Okay, it's a solid maybe. I didn't think Asmon was one, but we saw him in the dress.
Be providing you some contextual media for reference.
Oh, he did the cell phone crossplay. Look how he's looking at himself. He's biting his lip. He is completely enticed with the bosom of himself. God. He's been known to dabble among us. Bro is like, yeah, I want me some of that.
So, in my research in fembology,
the figures make sense now. True.
I was in the field, some anthropological work as a femboy. And this is me practicing the art of fembology in the field. Right? Some people, they join Red Cross and they go across the seas to help impoverished nations, impoverished communities. Some people do missionary work for the church. Some people...
Okay, tell you what, guys. How about we make a deal? Remember that 30k that Finster got? 50k. And I cosplay as Stelfo. I will cardboard box print out an Underworld fox face and staple onto my beautiful smug face, but I will wear the Astolfo cosplay for 50 grand. How about it? Take it or leave it, boys. Sound like a good deal? You guys get 5 minutes of laugh. I get to leave this forsaken country. $50K dollars around? No, USD. We want USD. I want premium currency. 50K USD, boys. And with that money, I'll use it to buy the outfit. You know, maybe like $100, maybe $200. I'll record the whole thing. Actually, no, we'll live stream it. 50,000 coppers. Broke again. I will go to the local mall and scream Fembuzi in an Astolfo outfit for 50 grand. I would do that. Those are my terms, boys. If you know someone, tell them the offer's out there.
People,
I just hope no one clips this.
Enlist in the military, put their lives on the line. I dressed up as Astolfo at an anime convention. To classify someone as a femboy? Is there a ratio of time spent dressing up feminine, wearing makeup, doing feminine things versus being, you know, masculine or just being, you know, themselves as in male? That seems like gatekeeping to me.
Wait, Asunder, why do you have a hype train conductor symbol? Oh yeah, because you gave subs the other day. I was like, wait, what?
And that doesn't seem right.
I didn't even know it gave you a badge.
Once
That's
in a
cool.
while enough to be a femboy? You want to say that you can just be a femboy no matter how much. But however, if you're trying to lose weight and every day you eat McDonald's and one day out of the month you eat a salad, doesn't mean you're dieting. You know what I mean?
It means you're hyphening.
I have to constantly shave my body to be a femboy every day? Do I even need to do it at all? I don't know. Saying it out loud, I want to say no. Once a femboy, always a femboy. Much like the Marines. I think...
Well, thankfully I've never been one, so I never will be one. And I am satisfied with that knowledge.
I think a femboy lecture would not be really complete without some mention of popular references in pop culture, aka femboys. As you can see here, I have...
He's got the full kit, hold up. He's got the Astolfo trading card. He's got the Astolfo figurine. He's got the bigger Astolfo figurine. He's got the Astolfo poster. That might be an Astolfo keychain. That might be an Astolfo sticker. That's the monster, and we learned the other day about, you know, femboys and their monster cans. So this is 100% the femboy setup. Oh, he's even got the glowing pink keyboard. Yep, this looks like a femboyism to me.
Have ample artifacts of...
Artifacts.
a certain character named Astolfo from Fate Grand Order. I gotta make sure not to...
Wow, what was that noise? What? Holy 2,000 bits, that's insane. Thank you so much, Asunder Cobra. Wow, that is huge. What? Bro, you didn't have to. I was half joking about the 50 grand. Holy, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. 50K in the works, true. And maybe I should, like, tally up how much money I've made so far from streaming. The moment we get to the 50K mark, I'm gonna go buy the Astolfo outfit. I'll order it from Amazon. Thanks so much, man. Chadge, absolutely based Chadge. Thank you so much for helping me support the stream. Wait, how much is a bit to a dollar? Bit is 1 cent, right? That's 2,000. So that's divided by 100. That's $20. What, bro? Just gave me $20. Like, I know the joke about $20 is $20, but come on, why did you have to make it exactly 20? You should be able to get paid by Twitch now, right? Exactly right, yeah. It should now boost over the earnings to about $56, which means I'd get the next payout. Which means I should be able to afford rigging on the next payout, which should happen in about 10 or so days. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that. Like, obviously, I don't expect you guys to sub or give bits or anything, but when you do, just know that you are helping me in immense amounts. Who will? Who will? Who will? Alright, that's the last time I'm ever gonna do something as disgraceful as that. Moving back onto the video.
To draw this too quickly as to avoid route.
Clipped! Oh shoot, something fell. But 9!
Causing suspicion. Astolfo, Rider of Black. I really like Astolfo as a character, but I would hate to boil down Astolfo to simply being the gateway drug of femboys. I do think that,
apparently the gateway drug. That's going right on the smug Alana subject. No! I will combat the allegations now. It's over for me now. 9! What if Smug sees that? She's going to react with femboy gifts. Then it's going to be over. I've already had it happen twice, where I got blambasted, alleged, accused of being a femboy on stream twice. This could be the third one, and we know what happens on the third one. The third strike, you go out. Let it go to YouTube first, please. You're more than welcome to put this on YouTube. Just remind me to download the file after this.
Astolfo is sort of that. Is the marijuana of femboys, the gateway femboy. Let's throw up some examples.
Okay.
Hidari from Blend S.
I haven't seen that.
Recently started playing this game. Venti from Genshin Impact.
Okay, I haven't played Genshin either.
Cloud from Final Fantasy VII.
I have actually played a Final Fantasy game, but it was like years ago.
Sasha from Animal Crossing.
Like, I know nothing about Final Fantasy, but I know who Cloud is. I know he's got a really big sword.
Talk about the fact that femboys come in all different shapes and sizes. We talked about, like, do I need to be shaven every day? Do I have to be, this traditional femboy look all the time? I want to say no. I think that's the right answer. We are all connoisseurs of femboys.
Connoisseurs is certainly a bold word to use.
I imagine sort of like a fancy masquerade, right? Like some European, we're all wearing suits and ties and we have swirly mustaches.
Like, imagine going to like one of those fantasy balls, with all the bunch of princesses. You see a cute girl in a purple dress, you go ask her for a dance. She takes off her masquerade mask and it's Professor Lando. And the next thing your heart sinks to your bowels and you're like, oh no, what have I done?
Classical music is playing, Yes, indubitably, I've come here
Yes.
Welcome everyone to the monthly gathering of us femboy connoisseurs.
Is there a Femboys Anonymous gathering? Why wasn't I told about this?
My name is Sir Maxwell.
He was about to say a Sunder Cobra.
Worthington II and president of our here chapter of the Femboy Connoisseurship, and I do like to enjoy my femboys to be a certain way, and I have my preference, and you know how it is. For me personally,
that's a nice hat though, not gonna lie.
Enjoy my femboys to be a little more masculine. So this is going to be controversial. Some characters in anime, their build and voice are basically just a girl, aka Hidari from Blend S, which is fine.
Is Hidari a guy?
To be a femboy, there's a spectrum. But to me, these characters are just femboy in name. For all extensive purposes in their media, they're simply another female character. Why even make them a femboy? It almost seems like pandering at that point or something. Where's the boy? And I get
that's the trap. That's what we're talking about.
There's some men out there that are very feminine, very feminine presenting, and that's fine.
Which is not me, by the way.
Fine, but I'm just saying that in terms of being a femboy, don't be so worried about being uber feminine.
He had to put the German in there. He's calling me out.
Cloud is a perfect example of my ideal femboy. Maybe because I relate to the character more physically, mentally. I think that's part of it. Maybe sort of projecting myself onto the character. Cloud is very, you could even say built, very, very masculine.
He is. Interesting to say that Professor Lando thinks he looks like Cloud.
Compared to characters like Hidari and Venti, Link very much fits into this category. Not like masculine as like huge honking macho, like huge characters. To see characters like Cloud wearing the dress, cross-dressing, getting dick down in the bathroom of the Honeybee Inn in Final Fantasy.
That happened? What? I ain't never playing Final Fantasy. Hell no. That's gay.
There's something more relatable to me there. I would like to
What do you mean relatable? You're the one getting mounted in a hotel? What's going on here, Professor Lando?
this lecture by simply saying that I believe the taint is the male version of cleavage, where the mound, you know,
that didn't happen. Okay, thank goodness.
Mountain majesty, you know, this sort of mound, the great American dream, rather, where the taint meets the top of the balls. That is like a golden zone, and much like where the thighs meet the thigh high, I do think that is sort of like the male version of cleavage. And now that I'm thinking about it, I might just be gay.
Yep, you're gay. Alright, that was a good one. Let me give him a like. Alright, clappies, boys. Clappies, that was a good one. Let me link you guys the video. Copy. Paste. Thank you guys so much. Whew, that was a while. Unfortunately, we weren't able to stream for very long, considering I had like 30-40 minutes of like zero power because, well, South Africa sucks. But nevertheless, I want to thank everybody who came. Asunder for the cheering of the bits. Especially, that was very, very helpful. It does help a lot. Thanks, Malto, Fasali, all of you guys who came by today. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, I have run out of time, which is a bit of a sad. But I absolutely enjoyed this. This was an absolute blast learning about Futas and Femboys on this glorious Futa and Femboy Friday. Oh man, that was such a cursed thing to say. I need to wash my mouth with soap after this. Hopefully I don't drop the soap, because even worse things could happen then. But yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Is what it is. Take care, Fox. Thank you so much. Do you guys have any raid targets for us? As long as we don't do the Femboy raid thing, I'm keen to raid whatever you guys suggest. I don't? Okay. Asunder, Fasali, do you guys perhaps have any raid suggestions? Any at all, my liege? Oh wait, there was actually an automod that held Maltomance's message. I think it was Gaylord part actually. I damn forgot to approve that, my bad. Okay then, I think what I'll do is I'll quickly just tome Umari. Okay, let's try this. You gotta tell me if it's the right one though, slash raid. Oops. No worries. It says it's invalid username. Okay, let's try this again. Slash raid. Oh, it's Tomo Umari. There we go. Oh, raid successful. Is this the one, boys? Is this the right one? Are we Gucci? Hey? Well, I'm not gonna raid until you guys say so. That turned out us? Alright then. Fare thee well, my lords. Have a glorious weekend. Good night and God bless.